it functions. So I will take a very contemporary example before we go ahead with how information affects the society. Recently, one company gave a report about Adani. Adani is a very big business, everybody knows. And a company called Hindenburg gave a report that everything that is going on in Adani is not so good. There can be some problems. Now, what happened because of that? I'm just quoting an example. It created some sort of instability in the market, and the share prices went down. Of course, Adani Group bounced back very fast, but this information created some sort of sensation in the market, and because of it, many people decided to pull out their investments, or some people decided, let us hold and let us see what is going to happen. So it was individual decision, and people decided as per their own perception or risk appetite that they are having. And that is how we can say that some sort of instability, some sort of turbulence was there in the market. And this information definitely was very important for every person who is invested with Adani Group. So how this information can topple something or how it can boost something, these are very important events that we are all observing. And a small example, let us say Ukraine war. When Ukraine war took place, what happened was there are many people who did panic buying, that there is a possibility that there will be a scarcity of some things, or there will be some problem, things will become costly. So they started buying something. So information can affect lot many things in the society, in the government, in the world. And that's how these information systems are very important. If I want to survive, definitely I will depend on information. So we'll go ahead with data first. So what exactly means the data? So let us go through this first and then we'll discuss about it. So data is something that is available, and after collecting this data, I will process this data and then I'll come to information. So let us start with an example. So there is an automobile company, Toyota, which is having its business in many other countries. And this company, Toyota, in every country, they are having different competitors. If I talk about India, in India, there are so many competitors for Toyota. The biggest company, as far as automobile is concerned, four-wheelers are concerned, is Maruti Suzuki, having maximum stake in the market. You will find maximum vehicles from Maruti in India. Then number two competitor is Tata Group. Number three, you can say there are many other companies that are there. For example, now we are having Hyundai, Honda, then we are having Kia, MG. So many competitions there. Volvo is there. Now, so many competitors are there. Ford. So in this competition, if Toyota wants to survive, definitely they will require data from the society as to what are the preferences of the people for a car. So I would like to highlight over here that Toyota Innova is a very popular car in India. Very popular. Now, Toyota Innova, every time they try to modify it in some way so that people would keep on liking the car and they would like to uh, use or buy more of these kind of models. So to survive, they are collecting data. Okay, what are the other competitors doing? I'll address every query. So what the other competitors are doing, which cars are getting sold. So nowadays we also observe that Hyundai cars are also very popular. Creta is a very popular car, and many people prefer to buy Creta. So what are the other people doing? And shall we do some changes so that we will also sustain in this competition? So one thing that is observed is in electric cars, Tatas are having a very strong hand, and I'm sure the other companies are also trying to look at this very positively, and they will also come with electric car options because this is again a preferred thing by many people. So when we talk about data, very important is how much is the car market in India? How much is the say total possibility of sales in India regarding cars. Okay, so that is what I would like to show you. Just give me 1 minute. I'll just address the queries if any. Okay. Uh, is it that my screen is not seen? Somebody mentioned about the screen is not seen. Can somebody comment about it? Okay, it's visible. Okay. Anyway, so okay, let us see who has raised hand. Yes, I'm getting comments that screen is visible. Anyway, no problem. If anybody wants to ask a query, you can just type it in the chat box. I think the people who are not able to see the screen, you try to reconnect. That is the only option. Yeah, I would appreciate if you can reconnect, rejoin the session, because I think everybody is able to see it. Few people who are not able to see, please rejoin. I'm sure you'll be able to see it. Okay, we are going to go ahead. So I was mentioning about data and how this data is collected. So data can be anything. We are collecting symbols, we are collecting text, we are collecting say currencies and many more things. Here I've already mentioned about uh, you know some special symbols like dollar, asterisk. It is also considered as data. And nowadays even voice is data. A picture is data. So there are so many ways in which the data can be collected. And this data, like images, are also forming data. So there are so many ways we are collecting data, and this data can be processed so as to get something that will help me to take a certain decision. So I'm taking you to a website which is pertaining to India, and I would like to show you how exactly this how exactly data is available. So I'm going to show you data now. I will just stop sharing this screen and I will share some other screen which I have already opened in background, and we are going to see data, and then we'll also go with what is information. Okay, so I'll stop sharing this and I'm sharing another screen. Please bear with me. I'm sharing another screen with you. So can everybody see the screen? Okay. Okay, I assume everybody can see the screen. So I'm there on the website. The name of this website is Parivahan. Parivahan is a Ministry of Road Transport website. And why I'm showing this website to you, please understand. I want to tell these things practically. So I would like to show you what exactly means data. So if anybody is asking a question to any Indian, how many vehicles are there in India? I don't think any Indian has any answer for this. But Ministry of Road Transport has made this data available, and now we can see the data over here as to how many vehicles are there in India. So let us go ahead with this. So I am going with the dashboard and report over here. And in the very first thing, I am able to see a link called analytics. So I'm sure everybody is able to see the link called analytics. So I click on analytics. I would request all of you to please observe. If there are any questions, I'll definitely answer. So I click on analytics. And when I click on analytics, I am seeing some data over here. Ladies and gentlemen, please see the data. How many vehicles are there in India registered till now? 33.72 crore vehicles. In the current year, 37.18 lakh vehicles are sold. When I'm saying current year, it means 16th of March. We are there on 16th of March till now, starting from January, 37.18 lakh vehicles are sold. I'm talking from January. So 1st of January to 16th of March, total 37.18 lakh vehicles are sold. That is about current year. So till date, how many applications were submitted to the government regarding vehicles? How much is the revenue that the government has collected from these kind of vehicle sales? So you can see the revenue also. How many driving licenses are issued till now? So it is showing me 18.71 crore driving licenses are issued till now. Till now means from year 1970. I would like to request the highlight that I am showing you. So till date data means we are having this data from 1970. So I'm sure you are understanding that this is more than 50 years data. It's more than 50 years data. In last 50 years, 18.71 crore licenses were issued. In the current year, that is from January to March 16, 17.45 lakh licenses are issued. How many applications submitted and revenue issued? So anyway, this was the first step where I would like to show you what is analytics. Analytics is okay. Very nice question. As I mentioned, it's from 1st of January. Okay. Okay. Somebody is asking question about 1 crore. 1 crore is 10 million and 1 lakh is 100,000. 1 million is 10 lakhs. So I hope Mr. Matthews, you have got the answer. So 1 crore is 100 lakhs, that is 10 million. So this is the data about vehicles sold in India. And now I would like to go into details of it. I will be clarifying on each and everything. I'm showing you data, as I said. And from this data, we can generate information. Now, what is the meaning of information? We'll definitely see the definition on everything. So I'll be going ahead with the next thing, which I would like to show in Parivahan. So please bear with me. I'm taking you to the another page of Parivahan. Just 1 minute. Now I'm taking you to a dashboard, and these kind of dashboards are very much required nowadays. So let us see what is the meaning of dashboard. Just 1 minute I'll take. I'll show you Vahan 4 dashboard. Now let me share it with you that many countries are fascinated with these kind of systems which are there in India. And let me tell you that it is something which has set a benchmark. Now, what is this Vahan website? It's a wonderful website. I'm sure everybody knows that you can find your own vehicle numbers also on this. And you can even check whether you have insurance for it or not. So here it is, 33 crore 88 lakh 47,723 vehicles sold till today. Number of transactions, revenue collection, everything is seen over here. And I would like to tell you that in this year, that is in 2023, we are seeing the data over here, 2023, 44 lakh 88,522 vehicles are sold in year 2023. Let me show you these vehicles in months. Okay. And you can also see the historical data in how many in 2019, how many vehicles were sold in 2020, how many vehicles were sold. And I'm sure all of you can understand 19 to 20, the pandemic year, where lockdowns were imposed in many countries, and there was a decline of sales of 22.84%, which you can definitely observe. But from 20 to 21, again, there was a rise of 1.52%, which you can see. And from this, you can see the boost. Now, I would like to show you monthly data. So please be there with me. So I'll click on 2023 and let me see how much is the data available. Now, this is 2023 data, ladies and gentlemen. Please comment if you are able to see it. Thank you. Thank you. So now you can see total 44 lakh 88,522 vehicles are sold in year 2023. Out of which in January it is 18 lakh 43,899. Feb 17 lakh 88,000, and March we are on 16th of March. There are 15 more days to go. So I'm sure if you see this website again from any country, you can see this website, absolutely no problem. But when you see this website, maybe tomorrow afternoon, you will find this number 8,56,245 had changed, because the vehicles that will be registered tomorrow, you will see that they are getting updated over here, and this is a real time data. What I am showing you is a real time data. Now, as I mentioned, that every month data is coming over here. Now, if you want to further find out the information, now I'm coming to what is information. This is data. Now, I would like to dig into more data and try to get some more information. Like in March, 8,56,245 vehicles are sold. How many of them were what kind of vehicles? For example, I'll click on March over here and it will show me the details as to how many vehicles were electric vehicles, how many hybrid four vehicles, how many CNG vehicles, how many trucks, how many buses. It is showing all the details over here if you can understand. So vehicle category, you can see vehicle class, articulated vehicles, motorcycle, scooter, luxury cabs, three-wheeler goods. Now rickshaw, you can see so many other options. How many ambulances are sold also it is having. Under the category bus, they are having ambulance also, cash van, omnibus, so many things are there. Similarly, vehicle category, if you see, heavy motor vehicle, goods vehicle, light goods vehicle, so many other things are there. Now, fuel, how many of them were CNG vehicles, diesel hybrid vehicles? So all this is used by companies so as to understand where is the demand. Is it that electric vehicles are having more demand, or is it that electric vehicles are still not getting sold so much and we'll have to rethink whether we should go for electric vehicles or not? So, okay, there's one question which is out of the way, but I will answer it. Whether our session is 1 hour or 1.5 hour, it is only 1 hour. It is only 1 hour. Okay. I'll be taking every domain. Uh, I'll take marketing also, HR also, finance also, everything I'll take. I assure you. Okay. So shall we go ahead? I'm starting with small examples. So please be there with me. So, okay. I am proceeding. There are some people who are raising their hand. You can type your question in the chat box. I'll definitely answer it. If you have any question, do type it. I will answer. So I can see 5 participants have raised their hand. If you can type your question, I'll definitely be able to answer it. Okay. Shall I proceed then? So I was showing you what is data and how I'm going to use this data. So suppose I'm working in a company, say Mercedes, Chrysler, whatever you say. So I'm working in that company. I would like to find out from this data whether my vehicles, my company vehicles will be sold or not. So from this data, I'm trying to generate information as to which kind of vehicles are more in demand. Is it that the small cars are more in demand, or is it that SUVs are more in demand, or nowadays, people are having many different options. Like in India, we are also seeing cars like Lamborghini or some cars which can be modified. You can see these kind of cars also. So it's quite interesting that people are spending a lot and okay. Okay, there is somebody commenting that companies will have their own data, definitely. But companies are also taking data from these kind of websites because these kind of websites are providing authentic information. And from this information, they can take their decisions. So I would like to highlight over here that uh, every company is looking at this data, automobile company especially, they are looking at this data to identify what is the scope for manufacturing electric vehicles. If the electric vehicles are sold in a big way, I am sure companies will have to take a decision that we will go with electric variants. Today, if we are not having any electric variant, we will definitely think of it. So that is some data that they will also collect, because in future, if you want to sustain, you will have to be dynamic. In the near future, it is said by the honorable minister also that many people will go for electric vehicles. But the problem today with the electric vehicles is there are not there are no enough charging stations. So if you go for an electric vehicle, the maximum mileage that you can get is not more than 180 kilometers in one charge. So people are apprehensive that if I'm not getting a charging station in between, I will run into problem and I will not be able to go with that car. So that is one fear that people are having. So may I proceed, ladies and gentlemen, with the next thing? I'll stop sharing this and I'll share the PowerPoint presentation again. Are you able to see my screen now? Please comment. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going ahead. Let us go ahead with what is information and knowledge. So please go ahead with what is the meaning of information and knowledge. So when we are giving a meaning to any data, it becomes information. So I'm collecting data and I'm organizing this data, arranging this data in the way I want. And then why am I collecting data? That is also very important. My objectives are very important over here. So I may be collecting data to identify the competition with the other companies. I am collecting data to understand whether it is feasible to manufacture a new product or not. For that also, I'm collecting data. Now, I'm sure everybody knows that after the pandemic, every country is suddenly on alert and they are also collecting data about the healthcare. And this is becoming very important. Unless or until we know what is the healthcare situation in the country, we cannot solve the problem. So healthcare is one of the very important facts and definitely data is collected. Now, how this data is collected? As far as Indian government is concerned, healthcare data is collected from every hospital. Now the hospitals are directly connected with some servers and every admission to the hospital has to be shown or it has to be documented so that the government will understand which kind of patients are more in our country. Accordingly, the pharmaceutical companies will also take a decision what kind of medicines are to be manufactured or any vaccines are to be manufactured. So I am giving a meaning to all this data. So I collect data, I will give meaning to that data, and after I give meaning to that data, then comes a question of knowledge as to what decisions can be taken. Now, I would like to quote an example over here. Now, all over the world, there is some sort of discussion going on, or there is some sort of brainstorming happening, or people are commenting a lot about some issues. And one of the issue is the gender bias issue. So, is there a gender bias? That is a very big question. And if it is there, then how to solve this? Okay. Now, as far as countries like India are concerned, though there are some people who talk about it, if one asks me, I feel there is no such gender bias nowadays because be it defense, be it police department, or be it any other department, we can find equal number of ladies working, gentlemen working. So there is no such bias that is observed. But maybe it is possible that some pockets of every country, there is some such kind of bias which is observed. But government will definitely bring some law for it, or they are trying to encourage that these kind of things should not happen and let there be a proper respect for everybody. Now I'm collecting data. My objective, suppose I'm working for an automobile company, I'm collecting data about which cars are sold in what quantity. I may also try to get data about which competitor is selling how many vehicles. Now, this can also be very important thing for me because I would like to find out where am I deficient. Is it that my competitor is giving something better than what I am giving? And maybe I'm not able to satisfy the expectations of some customers. So I'll definitely look into this. Now, coming to knowledge. Now, the question is information. Okay, there is a very interesting comment. Yes, there are some pockets where bias is seen. I 100% agree. I completely agree to this. But I think education can only solve this problem after some time. And if these problems are solved, now I would like to just quote one example. It can be taken positively from last year. From last year, that is academic last year, I'm talking about June 2022. In National Defense Academy, India, Even the girls are taking admission after 12 standard, and we are having good fighter pilots in Air Force. And now the things are open for everybody. So I think now the family should encourage these kind of things happening. And I would also like to quote one example that in India, we have seen a lady IPS officer, the first lady IPS officer, Mrs. Kiran Bedi. And I think then afterwards, many people were motivated to join services. And of course, yes, it will take time. Now, coming to knowledge, I am collecting data, I am generating information. Now, after information is generated, if you have knowledge, you can take a right decision. Now, when I say right decision, who decides what is a right decision? Okay. So we have to first identify, like, whatever decision we are going to take, what kind of outcome it will be. So whether it will really give some good outcome. For example, let us take one very sensational event in India. Let us say the demonetization. Demonetization was done in 2016, November 8, and many people were apprehensive about what will happen after demonetization. But what happened actually was, today India is ranking number one in digital payments. Today, we are observing that people prefer not to use cash. They prefer to use payments via UPI. And that is what we are talking about, knowledge. So somebody had a knowledge that, okay, it will be a very risky decision, but it will solve many problems. So what is the problem that is solved? I'm not saying 100%, but at least up to some extent, the problem has been solved. Generation of unaccounted money, that has definitely reduced. I'm not saying eradicated. It has reduced the amount of unaccounted money that is generated every time when the transactions are happening in cash. And whatever transactions are happening through wires, they can be easily monitored. So there was a time when it was not possible to know how much is the money Indians are having. Now, because of the transactions, everything can be monitored. And now it is very easy to understand the actual thing about our country. So knowledge is something which is individual. I cannot say that everybody can have the same knowledge. There are some people who are very knowledgeable in the taxation part, some people in the engineering part, some doctors are very knowledgeable in the diagnostics. So knowledge is individual, and I think information is there with everybody. For example, if I'm having information about which stocks will grow in the near future, I can predict it. Definitely, I would like to invest in those stocks so that I will end up earning good money. So I would like to tell everybody that uh, commodities will grow. Commodities are already growing a lot, and now commodities will grow more. Today, if you see the prices of gold and silver, gold is more than 58,000 per 10 grams. Now, the people who had knowledge and they anticipated that gold will grow in the future, they have invested a lot in gold, and today they are in profit. So that is what we call as knowledge. Of course, having knowledge is different and having risk appetite is a different story. Let us go ahead with data for computing. So I'm sure all of you have gone through what is data for computing. So what data I'm going to collect so that I can process something and I can get some outcome or I can reach a certain conclusion, that is very important. So if I want to come to a certain conclusion, what data I would like to collect, and I would like to generate some sort of information, and then my company or myself, we can take a better decision. So today we are seeing that much of the data is electronically collected or generated. For example, digital payments. All this data is generated electronically. It is stored on some servers, and from that we can come to certain conclusion, as to what kind of transactions are happening in what way. So this data is one thing. Okay, I'll just read. Okay, so somebody has commented about decisions. I do partly agree to this, that uh, sometimes it happens that the decision is taken and over a period of time you realize that the decision was wrong. Quite possible, quite possible. So it is not 100% every time true that if a person has knowledge, the decision will always be right. Nothing like that. But I think at least if one has knowledge, they can reduce the probability of failures. Probability of failure or risk is always there, but I can at least reduce the probability of failures, and that is what one can achieve through knowledge. So anyway, going ahead, so I would like to share some data with you. uh, Government of India, or let us say any country government, they will like to collect this data. The Civil Aviation Ministry is collecting data as to how many people from which country are visiting our country, because whenever there is an international flight, how many people are coming from which country, and there's an immigration cell where they have to show their passports, and everything is recorded at our end also. So every data, who has come in India and who has left India on a visa to some other country, all this information is there with Government of India. Or rather, I will say that every country will record this information, because there is a problem of illegal immigrants almost in every country. India is also not an exception. America also, there are so many illegal immigrants in America. They are there in United Kingdom. Almost every country there are problems regarding illegal immigrants. So they are recording data, and maybe in the future they will be able to find where these people are. They have come to our country, but where are they? Why are they missing? And it can be investigated. So definitely these kind of things are there. As far as railways are concerned, from the data of tickets which are sold, they can definitely identify how many people are traveling every day, or they can also identify in which on which route the number of customers or travelers are more. It is not possible that every route the travelers are more. There can be some routes on which the travelers are much more, and they can think of starting more trains. For example, from one place to another, if the number of travelers are more, they should start with some more options of trains, and that is what is happening. So even any airlines, before starting any route, they have to first check whether they are going to get customers or not. So suppose they want to start a flight from one place to another place, they have to first check whether there are people traveling on that route or not. And if the number of people are more, they can start more than one flights also. So it depends, unless and until they have data. There are situations where companies have stopped some routes also. Say they have stopped the flight. So I do remember that even some international airlines, they have decided to stop flights from a certain country. The reason is they are not getting sufficient customers, they are not able to meet their expenses, so definitely they will have to take certain decisions. So as somebody rightly said, uh, over a period of time, whether your decision is right or wrong, it will come into picture. But at least while taking decision, there is some data that is required. Eventually we can think of it, or there can be many reasons why a certain thing go wrong or why a certain thing may fail. I am proceeding ahead, ladies and gentlemen. So let us go ahead with more details of information. So let us go ahead with this. Data collected by any railway system about the travelers becomes, I'll process it and it will become information. I'm summarizing this data. Let us assume that in India, almost 14 crore people travel every day by train, out of which I would like to identify on which route how many people have traveled. Okay, by which train how many people have traveled. I am collecting this data. I'm generating this information. This information will go to the railway ministry, and then the railway ministry is coming up with various options nowadays. I'm sure those who are from India, you must be knowing about these options. Like there is a train called Vande Bharat Express, which is started from many places so as to reduce the time and so as to also make it easy for the travelers so that they are having more options to travel. So many such decisions are taken based on the information that I am generating or I am summarizing. And maybe this information also may give some insights to me, and these insights will help to make better conclusions with the data. Okay, I am sharing everything with the authorities. I'll share everything with the authorities, and everybody will get the text. Nothing to worry. I am going ahead. Now let us go ahead with the next thing. In what way we are going to use this information? So I'll share some information with you after a couple of slides, and you can also visit these sites that I'm showing you, and you can generate your own conclusions or inferences. You can have your own inferences about it. And so now it is said that this recording is also a kind of data. If this session is getting recorded, they are recording the session. It means this is also some data that they have collected. Now, what is recorded with this session? How many people participated? How many people are attending the class? Every chat is getting recorded. My voice is getting recorded. So definitely this can help in the near future so as to maybe take some important decisions regarding maybe what kind of more things can be done. Now here, let us go ahead with types of information. So today we are going to cover up to types of information. There are 3 to 4 slides regarding this. Please go through this. So let us start with action information. Wherever it is expected that I must act, it is called action information. For example, I am getting the bills for electricity. It is action information because it is expected that I am supposed to pay the bill. I am getting information regarding my taxes. It is expected that I am supposed to pay the taxes. So any bills, any taxes information that we are getting, that is called action information. Whereas there can be some information that can be static also. For example, I read something about maybe in some country they have started a new manufacturing company. Now that is a static information for me because there is no action expected from me. Suppose there's a new pharmaceutical company started in the US. I am neither an investor of US or I'm not interested in doing anything, but I just have information. Same like in the newspapers, we are getting all information. This is static information. Every information is not worth acting. I'm reading in the newspaper, okay, how many vehicles are sold by a particular company or how many admissions are there in a particular college for a certain course. Now that is all static information for me at least. So it is individual whether the information is static or it is something that is expected to be acted upon. Okay. So I will definitely look at information wherever my action is required. I'll definitely act on it. So action information and no action information. These are two categories, which is very important. And I'm sure every person has both these informations in his life. Like when as I mentioned, I'm supposed to pay my mobile bill or my electricity bill or any taxes or my, uh, say, utility things, then definitely that is called as action information. Now, coming to the next thing, what is recurring and non-recurring? Now, here the word recurring means the information which is generated repeatedly. So there are so many things which are happening repeatedly. For example, every day I'm getting information about commodity prices. Every day I'm getting information about stock market. So it's a recurring information. It is having a fixed interval. Recurring means the information which is generated after every fixed interval. Whereas non-recurring information means in last 2 months, how many patients of a particular for a particular ailment were admitted in the hospital. So this is ad hoc information. We call it as ad hoc information, non-recurring information. In last 2 months or last 2 weeks, how many shares were sold in the market, or how many new companies have started in last 2 weeks. So I would like to know information without any schedule sometimes, and that is called as non-recurring. Recurring means information with schedule. Non-recurring means sometimes we refer to it for a certain decision making. For example, the people who are attending the class right now, they must be getting recurring information, and that is about your schedule. The timetable is recurring information. Every week you are getting a schedule, which day you are going to have which class at what time. That is a recurring information. May I proceed, ladies and gentlemen? Have you finished reading this? Any response? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So let us go ahead. Internal and external information. The information which is confined within the organization is internal information. Maybe the external entities are not bothered about it. So suppose I'm working with a particular organization. I'm having information about how many people have come to the office today. Somebody was mentioning about HR. I'll be speaking more about HR also, and I'll show you some systems in HR also. So how many people have attended office today? What was the absenteeism today? I would like to know regarding how many people were absent. And further, I will also explore what was the reason that they were absent. So getting the information about my own employees in the organization, I don't think anybody else outside the organization is concerned about that absenteeism in my company. I don't think so. So that is internal information, and I'm supposed to act on this internal information within the organization. Whereas external information means, what is my competitor doing? Is my competitor doing something different than what I am doing? And is it something that will further create problems for me? And it is possible that my company may sink because I am not able to update with the pace with what my competitor is doing. So when I say internal information within the organization, there is so much of information generated within the organization. So for example, if I take any company, say IT company, how many employees have come today in the office? How many new recruits are there? How many people are supposed to get promotion? How many people are having very less performance? All this information is within the organization. I don't think anybody outside the organization is either concerned or having any impact of this. Whereas external information will definitely have an impact on the organization. Now, let us take an example. There was a mobile phone. There is, rather, I'm sorry, it is still there. There's a company called Nokia, which was very famous at times. Okay, Nokia was very much big company as far as mobile phone companies are concerned. But today, hardly anybody speaks about Nokia, Sony Ericsson. Even one Indian company was manufacturing handsets, Vidyapeeth. LG was also manufacturing mobile handsets. But eventually they stopped because they were not able to compete with the other companies. So I have seen a LG handset also, and I have seen a handset from Videocon also. But I cannot just compare it. I'm myself using Samsung. Prior to this, I was using Redmi. Okay. So there is one question. Yeah. BlackBerry also somebody mentioned. So there is one thing mentioned. MIS and business analysis are related. They are related. They are definitely related. So I'll be showing you some cases of analysis practically. I will be using tools for it. So I may use Excel, or I may use Tableau or Power BI. Yeah, Micromax was also there. Some people are telling the company that definitely yes. I've used one Micromax handset also. But BlackBerry and all nowadays nobody talks about. Anyway, so MIS and business analysis and business analytics. There is a difference between business analysis and business analytics. I will definitely highlight it when I'll be taking practical examples regarding that. Okay. So I hope everybody is clear with what is internal and what is external. Internal is confined to the organization, within the organization. External information, we do require external information. Without external information, nobody can compete and nobody can survive. If I don't have information about the external things, then I may become obsolete very fast. Okay. So let us go ahead, ladies and gentlemen. There are a few more categories of information systems. Let us go ahead with what is planning information and control information. So I'm sure that everybody does planning. We have to do financial planning for ourselves. It's a mandatory planning to be done by every person. If we don't plan for our finances, there can be situations which cannot be possibly handled by us. So every person has to look at the finances very much clearly. As far as manufacturing firms are concerned, they have to plan for their production. So unless and until I am having raw material, I cannot manufacture anything. So planning information forces that yes, you must have the right information so that your production will continue. Otherwise, there are situations that the inventory is over and you don't have anything, and the time comes where you'll have to declare a layoff. So planning information is very important. If I know what is going to be the nearby situation, I must plan. Like I'm sure all of you are planning your expenses also. You can anticipate, okay, in the next month, what are the liabilities you have to pay for? And accordingly, one has to arrange for the finances. So planning information is a part of our life. We have to plan for life in terms of insurance. We have to plan for life in terms of enough corpus so that we are surviving. And definitely, we have to give better education to the next generation. We would like to give a very good life to them. So definitely planning is very important. Every industry requires planning. Even every college requires planning. How are they going to organize the sessions? How many sessions for each subject they are going to give? And how will they be able to complete the syllabus in the required session? That is, of course, one plan which probably everybody must be knowing. Then what is control information? In case I'm deviating from the plan, I must definitely understand where exactly I'm going wrong. So if there is no control, then the things will go haywire. And for this reason, even our cars or our two-wheelers, they are having a speed control mechanism also. I am sure everybody must have seen that there is a area of the speedometer which is marked in red color, indicating that it can be dangerous to drive with such a speed. So definitely it is mentioned in the booklet also of any car manual if you open. So control has to be there. So as far as school buses are concerned, in India, there is a protocol for school buses. They are having a speed governance. And this speed governance is that the school bus cannot go beyond the speed 60, because ultimately they are carrying young boys and girls from the school. So the speed limit should be very much defined. So control information can be inventory control, which probably everybody must have heard. Inventory control is a very common word that people must have heard. Inventory control is there, or maybe there are many other controls like financial control is there. Every organization will control their finances so that they are not facing any problems. So control can be exercised at different levels. I'm sure everybody knows that even in banking there is a control on withdrawal or transfer of money. There are limits given for it. I'm going ahead. Let us go ahead with knowledge information. So nowadays the people who are working in IT industry, they are called as knowledge workers. So for those who are reading newspapers or you are keeping yourself active with technology also, I am sure you must have heard of Chat GPT. Has anybody heard of Chat GPT? It is artificial intelligence. Okay, some people have even used it. Great. I am also using it. So chat GPT is artificial intelligence, and it can write so many things. Like, yeah, it's a artificial intelligence. So okay, somebody has commented it failed the UPSC exam by 30%. So chatbot is different, chat GPT is different. So chat GPT recently, it is said that chat GPT can even write a love letter for you, or chat GPT can create lyrics also for a song. So there are, yeah, chatbot is different. Chatbot is normally when you log on to a website of a company, they will ask you a question. Do you want any help from us? So anyway, chatbot is altogether a different story. Anyway, some people are happy about the things. May I proceed? So I'm talking about knowledge information. So there are knowledge workers nowadays. They generate information and they convert it into knowledge. For example, there are many websites which will teach me how to invest in stock market. What are the different ways of thought process, and I can invest in stock market. So they are using their knowledge and accordingly recommending me. So these are also called as suggestion systems that are there in the market. And many people also use these suggestion systems. Am I audible? Am I audible? Okay, okay. There was a bit of power failure for a few seconds. That's why I asked. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, as I mentioned, there are many people who have knowledge about a certain domain, and they will generate some sort of information system. Like nowadays, people have a habit that if the doctor recommends some medicine, they will go to Google and find out for what reason this medicine has been given. So Google also has so much of knowledge, and there are people who are sharing their knowledge. So if you want to buy a car, if you type on Google that I would like to buy a new car, there are many websites on which you can get recommendations. If you want to buy a cell phone, there are so many people who are so called techno savvy, and they will start giving you recommendation. So knowledge information is, there are some people who are good in a certain domain, and people follow them, and based on that the decisions are also taken. So there was a person in India, Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, who was followed by many people who are investing in stock market, and they used to follow his strategies because Rakesh Jhunjhunwala was the best strategist. His daily income was also very good. Okay, thank you. So how to invest? There were many people who were following Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. They use his strategies, and also they have grown a lot in terms of their finances. The last slide for the day, ladies and gentlemen, formal and informal information. Now, what is formal? Whenever I'm getting information from the authentic channel, from the right source, it is considered to be a formal information. Informal information can be anything. People spread rumors, that is informal information. Now, whether all rumors are really very wrong, nobody knows, but rumors can definitely create problems in the society. Okay, so there are some people who are good at spreading some sort of wrong things, and then it can definitely create some sort of problems in the society. So formal information, if government is declaring something, it is formal information. If it is coming on paper, then it is formal information. If somebody says something, it is not worth believing. It should come through a right channel. So in any college, like if the college is declaring your schedule, that is very much a formal information because it is coming from the right source. If somebody is saying something else, I think you must definitely authenticate that. And that is very important. So formal information and informal information, we will definitely go ahead with formal information, which is coming through the right channels. There are people who will try to create distraction. Better not to believe them because they are informal channels. Any queries anybody would like to ask up till this? We are having 1 minute, ladies and gentlemen. So shall we stop over here, ladies and gentlemen? The time is over. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks for the session.